Hello everyone and welcome to the live stream. I hope that you are all doing well. Tonight we are doing our per usual weekly discussion stream, and tonight we have a couple of ridiculous topics to discuss, some odd situations, and so tonight, yes, hello. Tonight I wanted to discuss Sony skipping E3 again as it gears up to launch the PlayStation 5, of course. Last year, Sony had ditched out on E3. We figured it was because they did not have a lot to announce, which made sense. They were kind of preparing for this year, but this year they again are skipping E3. I wanted to discuss China. I discussed China and the Chinese gaming industry quite a lot because so many companies are trying to work their way into the Chinese industry because it is a huge untapped market, they think. And China is, of course, again taking another strike at gaming by launching another initiative to help protect children by bringing in further monitoring of online content and games and applications like on phones. So again, they are fighting back even though so many companies are trying to work their way into the Chinese gaming industry. We are going to be discussing Escape from Tarkov, a game that is not completely new, but has definitely picked up a lot of popularity in the past couple of months, or in the past month, I'd really say. And they were asked, why are there no female characters in the game? Why can we not play as a female? And they gave an awful response by saying, playable women would be just too hard to add to the game. I also wanted to discuss the Joker being attacked yet again, but this time Variety. It of course is we're coming up on Oscar season, and Joker is actually nominated for the most Oscars, and of course Variety is saying this movie with this toxic white male just has to lie. Why does it have to get all of the nominations? They're calling Joker too white and too toxic. So we will be discussing that, because that actually just did happen today. It did. And I also wanted to discuss DrStrange, of course. DrStrange, the first one, was a very good movie, but as we are going into the next round of MCU movies, there has been discussion on the Multiverse of Madness and the next Doctor Strange movie. And the director, actually, I mentioned it last week, but the director had actually left due to creative differences. But now there are some rumors as to why he has left, and we do have a little bit more information. Of course, they are rumors. Please take it with a grain of salt. We do not know what is true, what is not true, but there are quite a few rumors that I would tend to believe. So that is what we are going to be talking about tonight. Music too loud? All right, I am turning it down. How is it now, my friends? I hope the music is not too loud now. You all will have to let me know. Hopefully it is okay. Seems a little bit better. But welcome to the live stream, everyone. I hope you are all doing well. I'm still playing my PS4, damn it. Yes, we are going into new console season, so if you love your old consoles, well, get prepared to save $2,000+ on new consoles and exclusive games. It's unfortunate. It is coming to be that time of year. Once every couple of years, we unfortunately have to deal with console changes. I personally dislike console changes because of how expensive it is. But at the same time, I do quite enjoy console changes because I enjoy, new games and the innovation in the industry and seeing what companies can really do for consoles and new systems, especially where gaming PCs are so powerful. I like to see what they can contend with, especially at a fairly reasonable price. Could this be Sony's true entrance into VR? I do not think that Sony cares much about VR. I suppose I say that because VR has sold well, but it has not sold some amazing amount that kind of proves that people are really interested in it and that it's like the next thing. So, yeah, 11 nominations for Joker, yes. Alright, so the first topic we will be discussing is Sony. Last year, we do all know that Sony skipped E3. Now, it did not seem too surprising as it was kind of the year before the storm. Of course, this year, 2020, we are seeing new consoles release. Sony's new console will be releasing. The PlayStation 5, last week I discussed the Epic logo for it. The Epic logo. The Epic logo. But Sony is again skipping E3. Now, it actually was a rumor a couple of days ago, and I've been watching it because I honestly expected Sony to be going to E3 this year to show off the PlayStation 5 and to really bring a lot of awareness to it. But alas, your girl was wrong. Sony skipping E3 again as it gears up to launch the PlayStation 5 the second year in a row. Sony is skipping E3 again just months before it plans to launch its upcoming PlayStation 5 console during the 2020 holiday season. This is the second year in a row Sony is skipping one of the largest video game conferences in the world. E3, short for the Electronic Entertainment Expo, you know, the people that last year doxed all of the content creators that went that got press passes, is a long-running annual event held every June in Los Angeles, and it has traditionally been where both Microsoft and Sony have revealed new details about upcoming software and hardware. After thorough evaluation, Sony Interactive Entertainment, I don't know why I can never say their name right when I see the abbreviation, has decided not to participate in E3 2020. We have great respect for the ESA as an organization, but we do not feel the vision of E3 2020 is the right venue for what we are focused on this year. What they are focused on this year, or what they should be focused on this year, is selling consoles and getting people interested in your console. I 100% think if they can go to E3, they should. This is the year that their console is launching. They should be putting everything they can into its launch and putting it out into the world as much as possible. It's free press. Everyone is going to be at E3. If you want to get a point across about your console, special features, why you should buy it, why it's different than the PlayStation 4, why it's unique, why it's not generic, this is definitely the place to do so. A Sony Interactive spokesperson tells The Verge, "We will build upon our global event strategy in 2020 by participating in hundreds of consumer events across the globe. Our focus is to make sure fans feel part of the PlayStation family and have access to play their favorite content. We have a fantastic lineup of titles coming to the PlayStation 4, and with the upcoming launch of the PlayStation 5, we are truly looking forward to a year of celebration with our fans." Our focus is to make sure fans feel part of the PlayStation family and have access to play their favorite content. Well, maybe you shouldn't censor every Japanese game that wants to get onto the system. You do allow adult-rated content onto your system. Maybe you should just not censor it if you want everyone to play their favorite content. Adults do not need to be policed. They do not need to be told what content they are allowed to play and what content they are not allowed to play. They should have the rights as consumers. If they do not want to play it, they can sort it out and not purchase it, but that's just my opinion, for what it's worth. It's not clear whether Sony is planning a single, splashy launch event of its own for the PS5. Microsoft decided to showcase its upcoming Xbox Series X during the Game Awards last month, and presumably it plans to reveal more information during E3. The PlayStation 5 is expected to launch this holiday season. The company's been slow to release real details so far at CES 2020. Its big tease was sharing the logo. Oh my goodness, you guys, the logo for the PlayStation 5 was totally radical. The PlayStation, the console, I said the PlayStation, the console will have PS4 backwards compatibility and ship with an SSD as well as support 8K graphics and ray tracing. Yet little else is known about the console, its software lineup, or even what it will look like. Of course, it does go into explain the situation, which I had previously made a video on. saying once the most important show for the game industry, E3's impact has been dwindling for the past few years. As streaming has made it easier than ever to watch news from home, companies like Nintendo are opting to hold their own direct events online. Attendance fell last year, while Sony skipped the show for its first time in its 24-year history. In August, the ESA doxed thousands of attendees, including phone numbers and home addresses, through poor security. What a good excuse. That is all that we know. Of course, we do not know how Sony is planning on announcing the PlayStation 5. They could do it in a variety of ways. Of course, they could do it by their own event, making their own direct and their own E3 in a sense. They could just announce it with a trailer. I personally think that E3 could have been beneficial to them. I think that Microsoft is going to be there. And I think that if your competition is going to be there, you should be there. Especially when your competition is announcing your competition. It is releasing the complete next console, and I think that that's huge. I think that is so important. I think that this is a missed opportunity for them, but of course, we will have to see what they do. Ultimately, I'm still on the fence with Sony, as they have censored a lot of content. They have censored a lot of games, unfortunately. I am someone that usually picks up every new console, and I most likely will pick up the new PlayStation 5 when it comes out eventually. Not exactly sure, but I suppose that's all we know. Sony is skipping E3 again. It seems a little bit of an odd situation. Xbox is going to have a big show. Exactly, and I think that that's why they should be at E3. If Xbox is going to be there, you should be there. You want to show your trailers next to the Xbox trailers. This is your biggest competition. You need to step up your game. And I just think that them not being there, I don't know, maybe they didn't think that it was worth it, but I would definitely think that it would be worth it. You'll see strong third-party support on Xbox's stage since Sony won't be there. Very true. Hello, Drew. How are you doing? I hope that your night is going well. Hello, Cosmic Madness. Phony Sony, full of baloney. Definitely very true. I find it funny other games don't get censored like Black Desert Online. Black Desert Online is an amazing MMO. Rumors say that Sony will begin the pre-order for the 5 in March because it is the day that ends the fiscal year. I'm not sure. I haven't heard about that. I will have to look into that, though. They already won. That's why. Who already won? I don't mind Sony skipping. Just feels like a lot of money when you can do a direct. Yeah, very true. Alright, on to the next topic. We are discussing China. Now, I have discussed China on the channel quite a few times. So many large companies want to work their way into the sweet, sweet Chinese gaming market. It is a huge market, and so many companies see it as a market that has so much untapped potential. But China doesn't agree. China just wants things to go by their rules, of course, and China's Healthy China 2030 initiative aims to protect children by bringing further monitoring of online content and games. So I've made videos on it. They actually have time limits. You can play games for 90 minutes a day. They are very strict with how much you can play, what types of games go into China. Of course, Nintendo is working with Tencent to put the Nintendo Switch into the Chinese gaming market. We did find out that any game that is launched in China, like any Chinese exclusive games, won't actually be playable anywhere else. They're region locked for some very bizarre reason. But Chinese regulators have introduced a new initiative, Healthy China 2030, which will bring further scrutiny and surveillance of video games and online content under the guise of protecting the mental health of Chinese children. This is why I don't understand why companies want into that market so bad. This is a market that people can only play so much gaming. They can only buy specific types of games. It is because there are so many people, even if that's the case and they can only play so many hours, it doesn't matter because they're purchasing things. According to Chinese-centric technology news outlet TechNode, the announcement stated that in the rise that a rise in mental disorders, including gaming addiction, among children had become a public health problem related to the future of the country. I've discussed gaming addiction. Gaming addiction, you guys. Violent video games. Very serious. Very serious. Anyone can get addicted to anything that they like. If you have a hobby, you have a chance to get addicted to it. It's that simple. If you spend a lot of time and a lot of energy and a lot of effort on something, a lot of money on something, then you do have the possibility to become addicted to it. I am not going to sit here and say addiction is not real, that is made up and it's false. It's definitely not false. It can happen. But at the same time, most people are just wanting to enjoy their hobbies, and they're just wanting to enjoy the few things that they like. Video games bring a sense of escapism, and they bring people a sense of achievement, things that they could not achieve in their day-to-day lives. You could do these amazing things in video games you cannot do, or most people cannot do in their day-to-day lives. The announcement named online games live streaming, short videos, and educational apps as targets for further regulation, and stated that the plan is currently supported by 12 departments, including the National Health Commission, Publicity Department, and National Radio and Television Administration. As reported by GamesIndustry.biz, one section of the plan calls for increased supervision of online content in games, including crackdowns on those that include online gambling, bloody violence, and pornography. TechNode also adds that the bullying will be another issue central to the initiative. I do just want to point something out here. They want to crack down on more things that include gambling, bloody violence, pornography. People that live in China are only allowed to spend a certain amount of money on video games every week. They are not allowed to see blood. Blood is censored. You either need to remove the blood. It used to be that you used to be able to change the color of the blood, but now you have to remove blood completely. They do not allow a lot of pornography or adult content. Yes, they do allow some visual novels and, of course, some of that type of content, but not very much of it. So they are just continuing to crack down on the very strict rules they already have in place. Gambling in video games, especially as it pertains to loot boxes, was a hot topic of debate in 2019, and it appears it will continue to be so in 2020. Do you not want it to be? Does this writer not want it to be? Are they invested in the loot box industry? Like, yeah, let's get the son of a bitches. Spend your money on our damn loot boxes. Pay to win. The UK Gambling Commission made a ruling in July 2019 that the loot box mechanic found in a number of video games, including FIFA 19, does not constitute gambling. This is a very hot topic, a very widespread debate. A lot of people think that loot boxes are gambling. Some people do not. Of course, some governments see them as it. Some governments see them as not. It's a very widely debated topic, which is perfectly fine. I mean, in the end, you know, it does really go down to your opinion. I personally think that they're gambling. Someone in chat might not. But it matters when a government is saying that it's gambling. That's the really important part there. Further moderation and censorship of content in China will most likely have far-reaching effects for media across the world. Of course it will, because so many companies are bowing down to Chinese censorship. They want into the market. I mean, if you look at Activision Blizzard, they said with the Blitzchung situation that their Chinese investors had nothing to do with the situation, yet they overreacted and reacted so fast you knew that they were doing it to protect their asses. Of course, as previously seen, when gay representation was included in only brief, easily editable scenes and was removed from Singapore screenings of Star Wars The Fall of Skywalker, or when Steam indefinitely delayed submitted games whose content was critical of the government and ongoing protests of Hong Kong, or when Hearthstone player Blitzchung was banned for showing support to the Hong Kong protesters. I am curious to know, if you are in the chat, what is your opinion on China? I think that the Chinese gaming industry, I should say, my problem is that so many companies want into this industry because there are so many people there that they do not care that they have to bow down to China's heavy censorship, their heavy monitoring. They don't care because all they care about is the fact that they can make $1 off of someone that lives in China. And that's my problem. Companies should not think that way. I know that they're a company, they want to make money, they want to grow year by year, they want to see that amount of money go up. But at the same time, I do not think that they should be worried about an industry in a place that does not allow people free speech, that holds back human rights. Seems like they're pretty much in a box and they won't express outrage like us. Money talks no matter what part of the world it comes from. Very true, and that's what's so unfortunate about it, is that these companies, they do not care if this place has such awful rules and regulations for their people. They only care that they are making money from them, and that to me is just, it's sad. It's awful, and it's sad. I wish companies maybe would think more about it. Let's use the cosmetics industry for a second here. The cosmetic industry, there are companies that choose to be cruelty-free and to not, because they are thinking about the bigger picture. They're thinking about what it means to not be cruelty-free, and that is huge. But the gaming industry and these companies don't truly care about what the type of people that they are kind of bending over backwards for, just to make a few extra dollars. Volume is low, my voice or the background music. You will have to let me know which one. I will turn both up just a tiny bit. I did turn both up just a tiny bit. You'll have to let me know which is quiet though. Everyone said the volume earlier was good. China is good. Money over integrity, what can you do? Unfortunately, yes. Unfortunately, that's just the way that it is. Voice is low. How about now? Is that better? I just turned everything up a tiny bit. Hopefully that's better. When is the next Hellblade gameplay? Tomorrow night, I will be live streaming Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, if you are interested in watching that. But alright. The next thing we will be discussing is Escape from Tarkov. Hey yo, what's up? Not much. I hope that you're doing well. Welcome to the live stream. Can you guys hear the background music enough? Hold on one second. Yeah, listening back to it, it sounds okay. You guys will have to let me know if it's not okay for you, but it sounds okay on my end. Like on the playback. Hopefully it's okay. It seems to be alright. Joker evaded China and came out unscathed. Yeah. Alright. The next topic we will be discussing is Escape from Tarkov. Now, this is a game that isn't brand new, yet it has been picking up quite a bit in popularity. People have been really playing it. A lot of the top streamers, of course, have been playing it. They've really been enjoying it. Some of them have not. I've seen a lot of people mainly just play it because it's a popular game, which is so sad to see that people don't even enjoy what they're playing. They just play it to play it. Obviously, if you're hoping you're going to like it, that's one thing. But what's the point to play it if you're really not going to enjoy it? But Escape from Tarkov has had quite a few problems, and the developers have said quite a few confusing things. They have made statement after statement that if any other developer made, people would be like, why the hell am I supporting this game and these people? But yet they continue to slip under the radar, and the statements that they continue to make continue to not affect them. And this one to me is personally a little bit out there, because we talk so much about games releasing and being half-assed. We see so many AAA games at this point come out and be half-assed. I mean, even with Fallout 76, we see with Anthem, they come out, developers just try to push them out because they hope it'll make them some quick money, and Escape from Tarkov developers have said that adding in playable women would be a huge amount of work. Guys, to add breasts on the characters is just completely outrageous. You have no clue. You have no clue. Battlestate Games, the studio behind the newly popular online shooter Escape from Tarkov, says they won't implement playable female protagonists for game lore reasons, which is bullshit because of their next statement, and because it would be too much work. So they try to hide it. They try to hide their intentions. They say it doesn't work because of game lore, and then they say, oh shit, it's just too much work, you guys. You know what? We can't do it. We're way too lazy for this. We just need to continue racking up this free money for our half-assed game. Please don't complain. Right now, you can only play Escape from Tarkov as a man. Now, to me, personally, I do not mind. I am not someone that always needs female playable characters. If due to the lore it is not a female character or there are no female characters, I do not particularly care. If it's a series that you're playing as like a preset type of character, like a Cal Kestis or a Lara Croft, I do not care if it is not a female. Some people do get very upset. Some people do, of course, like to play as the opposite gender or their same gender if you're a female. But it doesn't particularly matter to me. In a first-person shooter, you can't see your character anyway. It's not like it is a huge story point. But there will be no playable female characters because of game lore, their excuse, and then their intentions are, and more importantly, the huge amount of work needed with animations, gear fitting, etc. Now, I understand it would be difficult. You would have to put in a little bit. You'd have to put in just a little bit of work, you guys. You made the male models. Why can't you make the female models? Female models aren't that much different. You have to add in curves in some places, tone down the body size a little bit. And yes, of course, you'd have to work on the gear fitting, but it can't be that difficult since 90% of games now do it anyway. The studio made the statement following the 2-year-old game's rising in popularity on Twitch, which brought renewed scrutiny to comments made by a Battlestate game developer back in 2016 about the war in fictional city Tarkov being too stressful for women to fight in. Gonna hot take here. War is stressful whether you are a male or a female. Just going to point that out. Distancing itself from the old comment, the studio tweeted yesterday that they didn't reflect the official position of the company and that it always respected women in wars and military women, but they still won't be letting you play as a woman. Escape from Tarkov takes place in a fictional part of Russia that's been closed off after war breaks out between various corporate-backed paramilitary factions seeking to take control. The women in the world of Tarkov have not all been killed off, and some even appear as not NPCs, so the game lore explanation is unclear. Of course, there's females. Females are real! If you guys didn't know, females are real. I'm just going to say, obviously there has to be females in the world to repopulate. Am I wrong? Did I get something wrong there? The game's two main factions are pretty generic military contractors, and I haven't been able to find anything in the company's recent statements pointing out why women wouldn't be involved in them. The amount of work required to make women playable is an excuse that's been wheeled out in the past as well. In January 2014, Ubisoft creative director told Polygon adding women to Assassin's Creed Unity's online mode would have required twice as many animations. Oh man! Oh man! Making the model slightly smaller and adding a chest to these characters is just too hard. It's just too hard. We are overworked. We are getting free money because a couple of streamers live streamed our games, and now we have more downloads than we ever have had in the past 2 years. It is just so hard to be a game developer that you're getting paid to do. You're getting paid to do this. How hard could it be? How many people do you need? Do you need a team of 50 employees to make one female model? Is it that hard? I need a game developer on speed dial. Guys, we need to find me an on-call game developer so I can be like, hey, how hard is it to add a chest to these characters? On a scale of 1 to extreme. Far Cry 4 developer said women were cut from the game's co-op mode for the same reason later that year. Former Ubisoft animator chimed in then to disagree, estimating that would have only required a few extra days of production. Wow, women. Whew, women. Whatever the resources required, whether or not to deploy them to create playable characters that represent approximately half of the people on Earth, is clearly a choice, one to which the developers said no. Battlestate Games did not immediately respond to a request for comment. I personally think that this is bullshit. I am not someone, again, that cares that women are playable in a game. I'm not someone that says, you know what, no women, no money for them. I am definitely not that type of person. But a huge problem for me is that they're complaining that it's too hard to do. And they're hiding it behind lies. They're saying it doesn't fit with the lore. It doesn't fit with the lore. If this is a world that represents anything close to a realistic world, of course there's women in it. Of course there's women in it. You're alive. How the hell are you alive then if there's no women in your universe? Just a curious little question. Are there aliens beaming down clones? Because I don't think that's what this game is. So, I just wanted to discuss the fact that that's their excuse. I did not buy this game. First of all, it looks kind of generic. But it kind of looks a little bit generic. But it's just in general the fact that, that's their excuse. So, that's all I really wanted to discuss with that. They have not made any other statements since then. Hopefully they don't make any other doozy statements like this. I mean, obviously, they can. It's kind of funny. But who knows? If women are not allowed into the military in Russia, then that would be lore. It would have been easier to say, I didn't feel like it. True. Maybe the boob physics are difficult. Maybe. Apparently too difficult. I volunteer. Thank you, Daryl. I appreciate it. Alright. Now, as you all know, The Joker is probably one of everyone's top movie of 2019. The Joker has won many awards, it has gotten many praises, and many people loved The Joker. I personally really liked The Joker as well. I thought that it was very good, very well written. I thought it was one of the best movies of the year. But now that we are coming around to Oscar season, of course, Joker had to have gotten Oscar nominations. But The Joker actually has the most Oscar nominations, but Variety's take on it was, but actors of color and female directors were virtually ignored. Probably one of the worst takes of 2020 that we have already seen, and we are all only 13 days into the year. Joker, an R-rated blockbuster, topped the list of Oscar nominations on Monday, becoming the rare comic book film to resonate with awards voters. The Best Picture contender earned a leading 11 nominations, which congratulations to everyone part of The Joker, all of the directors, the showrunners, the producers, the writers. Congratulations to you all, the actors, obviously. Obviously, Phoenix did an amazing job, but the story of the morning will be the lack of diversity among the leading nominees and the exclusion of female filmmakers. unfairly left out, you guys. Unfairly excluded. Joker will vie for top honors at the 92nd Academy Awards with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, The Irishman, and 1917, all of which earned 10 nominations. There are 9 Best Picture contenders in total, a group that includes Ford vs. Ferrari, Jojo Rabbit, Little Women, Marriage Story, and Parasite. And people are also very upset that Frozen 2 got gypped. They got gypped their spot in the animated category. In the major categories, it was a list of mostly white nominees. One that will likely inspire outrage, frustration, and pushback. Only one person of color, the role for Harriet, was nominated in the acting categories. Female directors, the director of Little Women, Harriet, The Farewell, were also overlooked. Only 5 women have ever been nominated for director, and only one, Catherine Bigelow for The Hurt Locker, has ever won the prize. Issa Rae, who has been enlisted to read off the nominations, made a biting nod to their exclusion after the directing contenders were unveiled. "Congratulations to those men," she said. Perhaps anticipating the storm would come, press notes shared by the Oscars took pains to note that a record 62 women were nominated, representing almost 1/3 of this year's nominees. I think that it's great that women can be nominated. I think that it's great that women can win, but just because there weren't a lot of women or a lot of black actors and actresses nominated this year doesn't mean that next year won't be different, doesn't mean that the year after that will not be different. Joker, which has earned over $1 billion at the global box office, was recognized for Joaquin Phoenix's performance as a failed comic who turns to crime, and for Todd Phillips's directing. Tom Phillips did an amazing job, and Phoenix also did an amazing job. This was an amazing movie. It is only the second comic book movie to ever score a Best Picture nod, joining Black Panther. Okay, I mean, Black Panther was very good. I do think there are better superhero and comic book movies, but Black Panther was decent. Though superhero movies have dominated the box office for over a decade, the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, the group behind the Oscars, have been slower to embrace the genre. In 2009, it snubbed The Dark Knight, Christopher Nolan's hugely influential Batman epic. I agree, I think that it was completely snubbed. The Dark Knight was amazing. Christopher Nolan did an amazing job with it. The controversy over that move influenced the Oscars to expand the list of Best Picture nominees from 5 to a possible 10, with the goal of introducing more populist fare into the proceedings. Joker's dominance is also notable because comic book and superhero movies have been a subject of fierce debate this awards season. In a series of interviews, Martin Scorsese decried their cinematic merits, dismissing Marvel films as theme park rides, and admitting he only saw clips of Joker, a film that plays a homage to Taxi Driver. You know, just because male directors do their job well, or because male actors do their jobs well, that does not mean that they deserve to be attacked. That is completely ridiculous. Phoenix, having picked up a Golden Globe, is widely seen as the frontrunner in the lead actor category. He, I personally think, is going to win. DiCaprio's aging TV star in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Jonathan Pryce's work as Pope Francis in The Two Popes. Antonio Banderas as a director in Decline in Pain and Glory. Adam Driver as a man entangled in a messy divorce and Marriage Story. I do think that these are good movies. I do think Marriage Story has a chance to win, but I think Phoenix is... He did such an amazing job in The Joker, and some people might think so, some people might not. But that does not mean that he deserves to get attacked, or these directors deserve to get attacked. There are plenty of chances for females and for women to dominate the industry. There are so many movies that come out every year that have female directors. in female lead actors and actresses. That does not mean that they should get attacked. This year's award season calendar has shrunk considerably. Recent Oscar shows have showed that aired in late February or early March, with nominations getting unveiled in late January. But the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences has moved things up by several weeks. There may have been a strategic reason for the accelerated timetable. Here we go. It's unclear what the fallout will be from the lack of diversity among top acting nominees. In 2015 and 2016, the Academy fielded back-to-back years of all-white acting nominees, triggering viral's #OscarsSoWhite protests. In response, then Academy President announced sweeping changes to membership and voting rules in a push to get more women and people of color into Academy membership. In the process, the number of people of color within the group doubled from 8% in 2015 to 16% in 2019. The 2020 Oscars will go hostless for the second time in a row. That may be partly out of necessity. I do not think that anyone was unfairly snubbed here. There were black actors and actresses on this list, people of color. Of course, there were female directors that made decent movies this year. It's not like they do not have a fair chance in the industry. They have a fair chance to kick ass and to create amazing films and amazing content. They have that chance. And just because the Joker got the most Oscar nominations, that is definitely not grounds for it to be attacked, because of course the main actor is white, and of course there was a male director. Dark Knight should have won everything. Dark Knight was a very good movie. Christopher Nolan did an amazing job with it. So it's not about the films anymore, I guess. Correct. That's a huge problem. Is it's not even about the films. It's not about the actors' jobs. It's about what's diverse. Is this person a person of color? Was the director disabled? Were they female? Were they of color? It's about who is surrounding the project, and I don't think it should be that way. If a movie gets nominated, that's because it's an amazing movie. If a director got nominated, that is because they did their job better than anyone else in the industry. The supporting actor nominations are all the 90s stars. Yeah. Let's go over the term award show. If your stuff is great, you get an award. Correct? That's the way that it should be. It should not be about who you are behind the scenes or how things played out behind the scenes. It should be about the movie. It should be about the content, and it should be about what you've created. Definitely. I definitely think that. I mean, of course, since the Joker came out, the Joker has gotten attacked. It has gotten attacked by everyone. By every twist and turn, it has gotten attacked. And it's a shame. This top comment here on Twitter, too bad they give nominations based on their work, not skin color or gender. A world where you are judged for your work. How completely ridiculous. How completely ridiculous. Anyway, that's all I wanted to discuss with the Joker. It's gotten attacked since the beginning. Again, another ridiculous situation. They're just being judged based on their work. It's no one's fault that Phoenix did an amazing and superb job at the role he got casted for. It's no one's fault. Man, can't believe he did that. How shocking. Disgusting. No, not a world where your work is what matters. I know, right? It's not the narrative behind you. No, damn it. Most nominations are just bought with stacks of money behind closed doors. I don't know that award shows like this have ever been about the merits of the movie. There are those theories, and of course, some things have been proven, but I mean, that's not always the case. I mean, things do get nominated because they're good. I mean, when they're not, people are not afraid to call out situations where it's like, that's an awful movie, that got bad ratings, there's something wrong here. These people make the Joker look sane. The Oscars are crap anyway. I agree with that 100%. Anyway, the last topic that we will be discussing for the night is Doctor Strange. I really liked the first Doctor Strange movie. I know that some people did not like it. A lot of people think that it was a mediocre movie. I think that the cast of actors and actresses, the director, it all really played together well. I thought the story was great. But new alleged details explain why Scott Derrickson left Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness director's chair. Now, he did make a statement last week saying that Marvel and I have mutually agreed to part ways on Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness due to creative differences. I am thankful for our collaboration and will remain on as EP. But new rumors and alleged details explain why he actually left. So, please, of course, take all of this with a grain of salt. They are rumors. I do not want anyone thinking this is the truth. Of course, it could come out that these are true reasons. It could come out that they are not. But, to be fair, they're rumors for now. Neither Marvel Studios nor Derrickson detailed what those creative differences were, but some new information has leaked onto 4chan. 4chan these days. This new information details that Derrickson refused to meet deadlines and was constantly coming up with excuses, it adds. He frequently blamed Disney even though they were very accommodating to him. It even details that Feige went to bat for Derrickson. It does sound like he had a lot of fans in part of Marvel. He had a lot of people that were really rooting for him and a lot of people that really liked him and liked his work and thought that he was good. Sounds like he was being difficult. However, work ethic problems were not the only reasons cited. There were also creative differences on the plot and how certain characters would be handled. This 4chan leaker details that Derrickson planned to kill Rachel McAdams' Dr. Christine Palmer in a horror movie called Open. McAdams Palmer was not the only character he wanted to kill. Benedict Wong was also apparently on the chopping block. Derrickson also wanted to allegedly destroy Doctor Strange's cloak of levitation. Now, there has been a lot of rumors surrounding Doctor Strange that they wanted it to be a more horror-esque movie. They really wanted to go that rated R horror route, and partially I do think because of the boom of rated R movies like Joker. They really wanted that horror, and because adults are willing to pay to see it, they really wanted to go in that direction, or at least Derrickson did. Now, when it comes to killing off characters, it is difficult because you have to really know the context. You have to know how they're going to be killed off, why they're going to be killed off. So I'm not going to judge on that. But apparently he also wanted to destroy Doctor Strange's cloak of levitation. I personally like when things like that are ruined. They're destroyed because then you get to see the shift in items that they use in the movies and, you know, the resources that they have, and then it can open up those new doorways. But again, we don't know really the writing that he had or why it was supposed to be destroyed. The 4chan leaker describes it as such. He was basically going to treat the entire supporting cast he himself introduced like the Warriors 3 in Ragnarok. The Warriors 3 were butchered in a fashion by Hela as soon as she arrived on Asgard via the Bifrost. Not only were there issues with the characters Derrickson wanted to kill, but there were also issues with the film featuring Elizabeth Olsen's Scarlet Witch as the main villain. The leaker explains Feige sees her as the main villain of the picture and thinks her arc is the most important. Now, there is something to consider here, that she is supposed to be part of a TV show. She's supposed to be part of 2 of the TV shows, I believe. And I think she's supposed to be part of Loki's, but she's also supposed to be part of her and Vision's. So when he is writing this, he might want to portray her in a different way than they wanted to for the TV series. And that could be a huge, huge discrepancy. Because in the end, you want this character to reach a certain point, the character makes sense, and that, you know, they've reached their climax, they've reached their arc, and he just may have not have been giving that, and they might have said, you know, we really want to do this with it, and he could have taken it a whole 180, yeah, WandaVision, and completely just butchered the ideas for that. Derrickson had other ideas. He really wanted Nightmare to be the driving force and lean into the horror he was wreaking onto Strange's life. I personally think that them adding in the more horror theme would have been cool. I really would have liked them to push the horror element of it more. I would love a horror-based Doctor Strange movie. Obviously, that might not coincide with what they want. They want to market this, they want to sell it, and if you are making a rated R movie, you are cutting out a piece of the MCU's sales, which are teenagers. I mean, obviously, the Joker proves that you can make a movie and it can sell if it's rated R. Same with Deadpool and whatnot, but we don't want to be risky here. This is Marvel, of course. This is Marvel. In fact, the argument over Scarlet Witch's role in the film allegedly caused Derrickson to yell over the phone to Feig, "Why don't you just call the movie Scarlet Witch then?" He then proceeded to hang up on him. This, I'm not sure about how he would know, how this person would know leaked details about a phone call and whatnot. Seems a little suspicious. Again, these are just rumors. But apparently, following this phone call, Derrickson apologized and then asked to be let go from the project. Ooh, what do you think of these desperate rumors? Do you think that either of them have any validity? Why do you think Derrickson left the director's chair for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness? It just sounds like the two sides were not meshing properly together, and that's sad to hear. Of course, the movie was early development. They were writing the script, they were writing the story, so it's not like they got halfway through it and then it all fell apart. Luckily, that did not happen. At least it is not the Uncharted movie where they've lost 9 directors now for it. But I really hope that this gets sorted out and it gets situated, and that we do see this movie going into the next couple of years. Because I do really like what they've done with Doctor Strange so far. But I do also hope that it stays true to Doctor Strange. If they were adding in Scarlet Witch to it, it's obviously because they want to grow Scarlet Witch's character more. A character I personally think that they did dirty. I think they did an awful job with her. They definitely did not portray her as well as I thought they could have. But I hope that it stays true to Doctor Strange, and that it doesn't become more of like Scarlet Witch's story or this character's story. So, in the end, these are all rumors, though they don't sound like good rumors, and I would tend to believe them. I would tend to believe that maybe there was a creative difference with the story and with the characters, and it just didn't turn out the way that they wanted. But yes, those were all of the topics I had to discuss tonight, you guys. I will talk in chat with you guys. This is now the Q&A portion of the live stream. If you have any questions or comments that you want to make, now is the time. Sounds like the vision he had wouldn't come to fruition. He'd rather step aside. Yeah, and it could have also been that, you know, Marvel's side of things could have been difficult, and they could have been giving him a lot of pushback as well. So you don't really know who to look at and who to really blame here, because you have leaks. So it could have been really Marvel's fault. It could have really been Derrickson's fault. You know, that story I'm sure that we'll never truly get, but just doesn't sound like it was going very well, unfortunately. I personally am a little iffy with Scarlet Witch, because I think that they have not done her justice over the past couple of years. I think that she just, in the movies, was not as good as she could have been. Though, come on. You guys know, a rated R Doctor Strange, a horror Doctor Strange, would have been amazing. Feels like all the time Disney is having creative differences. That is a big problem, is you have these large corporations that have these creative differences because they want to market it in a specific way. They're not just saying, hey, you're a director, do whatever the fuck you want. they're also like, well, it has to be targeted towards our audience, our specific audience, and then we have to be able to market it in a specific way. We have to be able to make specific type of merchandise. So there is a lot of pushback there. It's not like a director can just go, oh, I want to make it a rated R movie and I want it to be X, Y, and Z, and that's the way that it's going to be. They all have to work together, which can be very difficult. And the problem is that enough directors don't stick up for themselves in a sense. This director could have had an amazing idea, but could have walked away very quickly from the project because he just didn't want to deal with, the people that were overseeing the project that were telling him, no, you have to do this, this, and this. It sucks to be someone that creates amazing things, but you have to stay in a box, because that's not what creativity is. Obviously, you're getting paid a lot of money by a corporation in a large company, so you have to follow their rules. But, to be someone that is creative like that and to be forced into a box really is a shame. I forgot there was supposed to be an Uncharted movie. Maybe that's a good thing. They have lost 9 directors now. I think that is a sign for the universe that they should stop. They should just stop. Do you think these superhero cinematic universes are doing more harm than good to the genre at this point? I think that the Marvel... Well, I don't want to say just the Marvel movies. See, it's difficult, because we see movies like Joker, which are drop dead gorgeous. They are amazing. They are masterpieces, and they do so much justice to, the source material, the universe, the characters. Yet you have characters like Scarlet Witch, which were completely butchered. I personally do not like Ezra Miller's Flash. He's an okay Flash, but I definitely don't think they do him justice. If we look at the CW shows, I think that Grant Morrison, I think that's his name. He plays Barry Allen. I think he is an amazing Barry Allen. I think that the actor that plays Oliver Queen is amazing, but I don't think any of the other characters are really memorable and really that good. I think Legends of Tomorrow it's okay. I think that Black Lightning is okay. Batwoman obviously isn't very good. Supergirl, it started off okay. That's the thing, is that it's so pick and choose, because there's so many things going on, and that's the problem. You have the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you have the DC Cinematic Universe, you have what Sony's doing, you have, what is going on with the CW. You have so many different examples, and that to me is a big problem. Because some of them do justice, and some of them just really fall flat and hurt more than help. I mean, Batwoman has gotten awful ratings. It was renewed for a season 2. A lot of people really hate it. They're just trying to make money. And if superheroes are going to make them money, they're going to make superhero films and superhero shows. They should turn to books. Would love to see Jim Butcher's series on screen. I want to say they should make more, books into movies and, use different characters. But I don't want them to ruin those characters. Look at all of the rumors the past 5 years, the past 8 years. There's been so many rumors about Disney wanting to do a Knights of the Old Republic series or an Old Republic Star Wars series. And that fucking terrifies me, because I think that a lot of that is extended universe. They would have to figure out what the hell they're doing with the extended universe. But characters like Revan, characters like Bastila Shan, characters like Satil Shan, characters like Darth Malgus, characters like, we have Zoan and we have Darth Bane, we have characters like the Old Lords like Naga Sadao. These are characters that I love, but I would hate to see them ruin. And characters that I would love to see a fucking great show. I'd love to see the next Mandalorian, a great show, but I'm too worried that they're gonna mess it up. So ultimately, I would rather sacrifice that viewing pleasure because of that uncertainty. Black Lightning leaned way too much into the identity politics for my taste. Doctor Who. If you guys didn't see today's video, I put up a video on Doctor Who, and unfortunately, it's not like we're going back to season 5 or 6 where everyone loved the show. They have leaned into identity politics and social justice commentary so much that it ruins the show. I mean, Picard. We see what's happened with Discovery. We're worried about Picard. It's not the Next Generation. It's not Deep Space Nine, which, hot take, liked. But it's not those shows. And they want to sell that nostalgia. They know that nostalgia makes money, and that's why they do these things. Because nostalgia makes money. And they don't want to rely on someone creating a new franchise because there's so much uncertainty that goes on with that. And I understand that. I'm not saying that these corporations are awful and the people leading them are awful because they don't want to take that risk. I'm not mad at them. I just want them to do it in a safer way. I want them to protect more of what they are working off of. It's too much to ask, though. I love Disney's The Black Hole. Oh, wait. Disney is a black hole? Yeah. Good point, especially if they're gonna ignore source material. Yeah, like, if they're gonna go off source material, they're gonna make something good, then do it. I personally really liked The Mandalorian. Yes, it is in an established universe. Yes, it has characters that, obviously tie to, the material in the movies before and after it, but it's unique and it's done in a way that it couldn't affect the larger picture. Like, The Mandalorian couldn't, change episode 9. It couldn't change episode 8. It couldn't change the prequels. It's in the same universe, but at the same time, it's kind of in its own. Do you guys know what I mean? That it's not going to fuck everything else up. But yet, it's in an established universe that we all know and love and appreciate. I hope you guys understand what I mean there. That was a bad explanation. Sorry. Really bad explanation. They ruined Star Wars already. I really don't see people coming back. See, that's where I would disagree. I think that Star Wars is such a big franchise and it's so many people love it that they could save it. They could make one good movie and it could all be saved. If they decided to make another trilogy, which they will eventually, and they decided to... It could be anything. And it was good, they could save Star Wars. The Mandalorian proved that Star Wars wasn't ruined. Because people are dedicated to the things that they love. I love Star Wars. I will be the first person to admit it. I play Star Wars The Old Republic, the MMO, every day. I play that game for like 3 hours a day, 4 hours a day. Oh man, it's an EA game. I'm sorry guys, please don't hate me. But I put hours into that every day. I love the video games. I love all of the previous movies besides the sequel trilogy. I'm dedicated to Star Wars. If they came out and made another movie and it was amazing, I would watch it. I would support it, and I would love it. It's nostalgia. That's the problem. Is when you have nostalgia for something, you will give it a chance again and again and again. Totally that The Mandalorian is on its own. Yeah, you guys understand. People will lap up anything, really. The thing with the new trilogy is the bar is very, very low for improvement, too. I don't think that the new trilogy could be saved. I think they need to wipe it, and act like it never happened. I think they need to sweep it under the rug and say goodbye. Because the actors and the actresses have said that they're not going to do a TV show. They're so cocky. They've said, I'm not going to go on the small screen. I'll do more movies, but that's it. And that's not the viewpoint you have to have. Look at the Obi-Wan series. Everyone didn't like the prequel trilogy, yet we are so excited for the Obi-Wan show because you have Ewan McGregor, we have Samuel Jackson coming back to these iconic roles, and we all know that we're going to give that a chance. We need more women like you. Well, thank you. I appreciate your comment very much. It's nostalgia, and so many companies know that nostalgia sells, and I'm not going to say, oh, screw you companies for feeding off my nostalgia because I want that nostalgia satiated. If you are going to give me a good product, I am going to support said good product, but unfortunately, it's been a rough road. It has been a rough road. I love Star Wars, and that's why I won't give them a penny. I grew up reading the Extended Universe books from 3rd grade onward, and that's the real Star Wars to me. I agree. I used to own, like, all of the Extended Universe books. I had hundreds. It was like 200 or 300. I don't even remember. I had a lot of them. And I got rid of them because I've read them, and Disney uncanonized them all. So I can keep those good memories. But at the same time, I hope that Disney never acknowledges the Extended Universe because I don't want them to ruin it all. I got Star Wars books on tape. Nice. I think it is because the hate they got from this new trilogy that the actors don't want to come back. The dude that played Anakin, what was his name? Christian Hayden? What's his name? What's his name? Yeah, Hayden Christensen, yeah. I mean, when you are in a role that is hated and your character is hated, of course you don't want to come back to it. Unless you get a lot of money. But, alright you guys, I am going to end this week's discussion stream here. Thank you all so much for stopping by tonight. I very much so appreciate it. Of course, next Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern, I will be doing yet another weekly discussion stream, another Vara After Dark. If you guys enjoyed this live stream, please make sure to give it a like, and if you did not, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way. If you are not supporting the channel already, please consider becoming a Dark Titan via Patreon. I have tiers of just $1 a month. It really helps the channel, helps with a lot of upgrades, also helps with me getting new games. If you are interested, please also make sure to join our Discord. We are very active there, very open and welcoming community. I do chat there quite often. And tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern, I will be continuing Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. That is the game that I am currently live streaming. So yes, I will be continuing that tomorrow night for all of you that have watched it and all of you that are following along with the playthrough. We are about 3-ish hours in. But thank you guys so much for stopping by tonight. I appreciate it, and have a fantastic night, everyone.